A twist of fate. Jeff Bezos was feeling overwhelmed by his hectic schedule. After leaving a meeting in Washington, he decided to take a walk, slipping away from his security team and wandering through the side streets. In one of the city's older neighborhoods, his eyes landed on a nearly abandoned bookstore. The faded sign above the door read, "Harold's Books since 1978. As he stepped inside, a faint bell chimed. The shelves were covered in dust, books were scattered everywhere, and the place was eerily empty. The only person there was an elderly man behind the counter, quietly jotting something down in a notebook. Jeff slowly browsed the shelves. After a few minutes of silence, the elderly man looked up and locked eyes with Bezos. There was both surprise and sadness in his gaze. "Interesting. I wasn't expecting to see you here," he said softly. Bezos raised an eyebrow. Did this man know him? "Excuse me, have we met?" he asked. The old man gave a gentle smile. "You wouldn't remember me, but I know exactly who you are." A ghost from the past. Bezos was intrigued by the old man's words. He decided to sit and listen. The man took a deep breath and began to speak. "Years ago, a young boy used to visit this bookstore every day, spending hours reading. His family didn't have much money, but they set aside a little each week so he could buy a single book. That boy grew up with books, dreamed big, and one day he believed he would change the world." Bezos listened carefully, the story capturing his attention more and more. The old man looked straight into his eyes and added, "That boy was you, Jeff." Bezos's breath caught in his throat. He blinked rapidly, studying the man more closely. He searched his memories, and suddenly, it all came rushing back. Years ago, as a child, he had spent countless hours in this store, flipping through books, mesmerized. And this man, this was Harold. You're Harold. You used to give me books, but how do you remember me?" Harold smiled softly. "I never forget a child who loves books. I remember every kid who walked through these doors. But you were different. Your eyes lit up when you read. I knew you would do something great one day." Bezos lowered his head. For the first time in years, he felt truly indebted. Then he noticed something. The store was empty. The shelves were covered in dust. "Harold, how's business going?" he asked. The old man sighed. "Not good. People don't buy books from stores anymore. Everyone shops online. I just can't keep this place running. In a few weeks, I'll have to shut it down." Bezos's expression darkened. He had to do something. Rewriting the past. Bezos stood up quietly. He pulled out his phone and sent a few messages. Then, he turned back to Harold. "This store isn't closing," he said firmly. Harold looked up in shock. "What do you mean, Jeff?" Bezos smiled slightly. "I'm doing this for you, for kids, for everyone who loves books." Within an hour, Bezos's team had arrived at the bookstore. The space was cleaned, new lighting was installed, fresh bookshelves were brought in, everything was given a brand new look. But the real surprise for Harold was yet to come. The next day, Amazon's homepage featured a major announcement. Harold's Books becomes Amazon's first physical bookstore partner, bridging tradition and the future. Harold stared at the screen, his eyes filling with tears. You did this for me?" he whispered. Bezos nodded. "I did this for you, for the kids, for everyone who loves books." The light in Harold's eyes sparked once again. Harold's Books was no longer just a struggling bookstore. It had become a symbol. People flocked to visit. The story made headlines, and Jeff Bezos had made one of the most meaningful investments of his life. Sometimes the greatest wealth isn't measured in money, but in the books that fuel a child's dreams. And so, Jeff Bezos, once again, changed a life in an unexpected way. And that brings us to the end of this story. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications for more inspiring stories.